这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的听力水平在生活中是完全够用的。要持续提升英文，记得点击订阅按钮。我们开始吧。
A cowboy once said that moving cattle was easy, but trying to move cats would break a strong man in a day. Out on the wide plains of the American West, men on horses pushed long lines of cattle across dry land. The sun burned their necks. Dust filled their mouths. Cows could be slow and stubborn, yet they moved as a herd. When one turned, the rest often followed. It was hard work, but it made sense. There was order in the noise. In small towns near those plains, cats lived a very different life. They slept on warm steps, slipped through fences, and climbed up barns when they felt like it. No rope could hold them for long. No loud shout could make them stay. A cat went where it wanted, when it wanted. Old ranch hands liked to sit by the fire at night and trade stories. They talked about storms, lost cows, and narrow escapes. One night, after a long drive, a young hen complained that keeping track of a few barn cats felt harder than moving 2,000 cattle. The older men laughed. One of them spat into the fire and said, "Son, trying to herd cats would drive you mad." The line stuck. It was funny because it was true. Cows move in groups. Cats do not. Cows fear the herd's edge. Cats do not fear much at all. The men began to use the phrase when something felt wild and out of control. Rounding up stray calves was work. Herding cats was a joke about work that could not be done. Years passed. Railroads cut across the land. Cars replaced horses. The old cattle drives faded into memory, but the saying stayed alive. In small offices and school halls, people reached for words to describe chaos. A teacher trying to line up 20 excited kids before lunch would sigh and say it felt like herding cats. A coach with a team that would not listen used the same words. The phrase showed up in print in the late 20th century. Writers loved it because it painted a clear picture. You could almost see a poor soul chasing sleek cats across a yard, arms waving, hope fading fast. It was short, sharp, and honest. Then came a moment that pushed the saying into homes across the country. At the turn of the new century, a big tech company ran a television ad during a famous football game. In the ad, tough cowboys claimed they had done the hardest job of all. They said they had herded cats across rivers and over hills. The screen filled with long lines of cats walking like cattle. The scene looked grand and wild at the same time. Viewers laughed. The joke worked because everyone knew the truth. Cats do not march in lines. The ad did not invent the phrase, but it gave it new life. Behind the humor sits a simple idea about people. Some groups move like cattle. They share one goal. They follow a clear lead. Other groups are more like cats. Each person has a strong will. Each mind runs in its own direction. You call a meeting, and half the group wants one plan while the rest wants something else. You set a time, and someone shows up late with a new idea. You ask for quiet, and side talks bloom like weeds. Picture a small startup in a cramped room. 5 bright friends sit around a table. One wants to build an app for games. Another dreams of art and design. A third cares only about code speed. The talk grows loud. Voices cross. Plans shift every few minutes. The founder leans back and rubs his eyes. It feels like herding cats. He is not calling his friends lazy or bad. He sees their fire. He just cannot point that fire in one clean line. There is a small twist in the story of the phrase. Herding cats sounds useless, yet people still try. Parents try with strong-willed kids. Managers try with bold workers. Teachers try with bright minds that bounce from idea to idea. The work is hard because cats, and people like them, value freedom. They move when they choose. They listen when they trust. Another scene helps the meaning sink in. A new teacher walks into a noisy class for the first time. Papers fly. Chairs scrape. A paper plane lands near the door. The teacher claps once. No change. She raises her voice. A few heads turn, then drift away. For a brief second, doubt hits her chest. This is chaos. This is herding cats. Then she changes her plan. She lowers her voice instead of raising it. She tells a short, sharp story. Curiosity pulls eyes toward her. The room grows still, not by force, but by interest. The cats are not forced into a pen. They choose to gather. That is why the phrase has lasted. It carries humor, but also a quiet lesson. Force does not work on every group. Noise does not beat noise. When you face a room full of strong wills, you need patience and craft. You need to know what drives each cat. The old cowboys might smile at how far their joke has traveled. From dusty trails to bright screens, from campfires to classrooms, the image remains clear. A herd of cattle moves like a wave. A pack of cats scatters like sparks. You have felt this in your own life. Maybe you tried to plan a family trip and every person wanted a different place. Maybe you worked on a group project where no one agreed on the first step. Maybe you tried to get your friends to pick a place for dinner and the chat went in circles for an hour. In those moments, you were not weak. You were facing cats. The next time life feels scattered and loud, remember the ranch hand by the fire. He knew some tasks bend to a rope and a shout. Others ask for humor, calm, and a new way of thinking. Herding cats may sound impossible, yet it teaches you about patience in people. And once you see the cats for what they are, you might stop chasing them and start guiding them, one small step at a time.
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。